remarks at the beginning of the meeting. All comments must be addressed to the council as a whole. Addressing individual council members or staff is not allowed. Speakers should be courteous in their choice of words and actions, and comments shall be limited to the issue and cannot involve individual or staff-related matters. All cell phones and electronic devices used for communications should be silenced for the duration of the meeting. I'd like to call this meeting of the Terrebonne Parish Council to order, and I will do tonight's invocation and pledge allegiance. Please rise. Grant us grace, our Father, to do our work this day as workmen and women who need not be ashamed. Give us the spirit of diligence and honest inquiry in our quest for truth, the spirit of charity, and all other dealings with our fellows in the spirit of gaiety, courage, and quiet mind in facing all tasks and responsibilities. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I please get a roll call?
Mr. Darren Guidry, Mr. Babin, Mr. Dirk Guidry, Mr. Trustclair, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Harding, Mr. Michelle, Mr. Amadine, Ms. Domingue.
Here.
Madam Chair Lady, you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Approve the minutes of the regular council session held on November 29th, 2023. Moved by Mr. Amity and second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Motion passes. Distribute the minutes of the regular council session held on December 13th, 2023. Approve accounts payable bill list for 12/11/2023 and 12/18/2023. Moved by Mr. Darren Guidry. Second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas and 1 abstention. Motion passes. Approve manual checklist for November 2023. Moved by Mr. Darren Guidry. Second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 8 yeas and 1 abstention. Motion passes. General business. A commendation commending Mr. Alan Lecomte for his dedication to improving Terrebonne Parish infrastructure and his contributions to the well-being of Terrebonne Parish citizens throughout his career. Mr. Darren Guidry.
Yeah, Madam Chair, it's with pleasure that I read this commendation. It says, whereas over his career, Mr. Alan Lecomte was a key employee of Delta Services, LL&G Construction, and Dolphin Services. And whereas Mr. Lecomte in his role as project foreman worked together with the Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government and the previous Terrebonne Parish Police Jury to build and repair pump stations, bridges, and levees throughout the parish. And whereas the pump stations in which he was involved included the Bonanza Pump Station, the pumps in Gibson-Donner Canal, in the lower Dularge-Pennzoil Canal, near Dularge Marina, in Crozier Subdivision, on Smith Ridge, in Upper Montague, in Canebrake, on Texas Gulf Road, and behind M&L Industries. And whereas the bridges in which he was involved included refurbishing of the Industrial Canal Bridge, the construction of 2 concrete bridges in Dularge, as well as a footbridge across from the Dularge Elementary School, and under emergency authorization repairing the Dulac Pontoon Bridge. And whereas Mr. Lecomte would above and beyond often work in holidays and after hours during states of emergencies, including working nearly 36 hours straight to install timbers to stabilize a Grand Caillou pump station at risk of collapsing as a Gulf storm approached Terrebonne Parish. And whereas during the term of the Terrebonne Parish President Bubby Lyons, a barge hit the East Main Bridge, and state engineers estimated it would be out for months. But Mr. Lecomte and his crew went to work and were able to put the bridge back in working order in less than 2 weeks, receiving a commendation from the parish at the time. And whereas Mr. Lecomte always took pride in his work, cooperating and collaborating with parish engineers to achieve a quality product. And whereas the efficient work of he and his crew day in and day out for so many years greatly benefited Terrebonne Parish and its citizens, now therefore be it resolved by the Terrebonne Parish Council on behalf of the parish president and the entire Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government that Mr. Alan Lecomte be commended for his dedication to improve Terrebonne Parish infrastructure and his contributions to the well-being of Terrebonne Parish citizens throughout his career. Presented this 20th day of December, 2023, and is signed by Parish President Gordon Dove and Parish Council Chairman Jessica Domingue. Mr. LeCompte.
Mr. LeCompte, can you come up to the mic, please, and say a few words?
Just a couple of them. I'm not, I'm not much on talking. I guess this is it's a first for everything in life. And this is the first time I ever get acknowledged this for all these projects. I was 58 years, I've been in heavy construction. And it's been a tough road. It's mostly these projects that he's talking about, these pump stations, is in excess of 25 of them. And of course, there were creosote. And creosote, you don't have to tell a lot of people about it. There's not a lot of people that wanted to get into creosote. So I had an old crew. I was the youngest guy and in the gang, and we got these contracts through the parish for all these pump stations. At one time, we had like 3 of them in the Delta days, and we were able to get through it. Most of my help and crew members are deceased, and like I said, I was the youngest, but and I'm having creosote issues at this point in my life also, but it hadn't stopped me. And it was a long journey. The things out, the Christmas Day pump station, that we had a pump station that was just about complete, but it wasn't quite, put fuel in it, but it wasn't to that capacity yet. And we got a phone call, and right at lunchtime, went to the pump station and pumped all night with that, so to keep the protected area from flooding out. The Grand Kaya collapse, I worked with Mr. Raymond Oldman for a day and a half, I guess, on that one to stabilize it, to keep it from collapsing into the canal and getting the overflow from flooding, I guess, half a Grand Kaya. East Main Bridge is, I know it's not a parish, it was a parish project, parish, but it's not this government that took care of. But Bubba Lyons, it made him very happy to see that we did what we did on the East Main Bridge. It was engineers expected it to be up for like a month or so, and in 13 days, I think we got it back in operation. And pretty well much, it was a good run. I got all my limbs and everything else. I worked around cranes all my life, and I was just thank the good Lord about all that. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a man with a lot of words. And I'd like to thank all my family for, of course, for making this little deal, Mr. Guidry, for getting me on track with this to try to get something acknowledged. I thought there's a lot of things that I did for the emergency projects. I don't know exactly how many emergency projects, but the Homer navigation pontoon would get knocked out just about every time Gulf Island had a loadout with those jackets, and it knocked the ramps off. And you had to, the first phone call, we got the phone call to go over there and had to try to mend all this stuff back together. And, it was a fortunate thing that was able to do that. And so many of these things. I would also like to thank y'all people for having me up here, y'all councilman. First time ever get in this situation. And the other, Mr. Martin Falls was another one. He started me off on this venture as far as getting acknowledged and everything else. And of course, the men that worked with me on all these projects and that are not with me anymore, and some of them are, just a few of them are still around, but majority of them is deceased and gone. And other than that, I don't have a lot more to say.
Well, thank you, sir, but just wait up here because we got a few more people who have a few things to say. Mr. Trosclair.
Yes, Alan, I'm glad to be part of this council to give this to you. I think Fifi would be proud to see it looking down on you. You're talking about the bridge. If you want something done, let an engineer tell a Cajun that he can't do it. And that's how you guys work. I actually was started my working career at Delta, and I was Ruben Trosclair was my uncle. He was a welder, and I was a welder's helper. Worked with Fifi and all you guys. So I appreciate everything you've done. I know Terrebonne Parish appreciates everything you've done, and thank God you're still around to enjoy it. Thank you.
Mr. Dove.
Mr. LeCompte, always pleasure to meet you. I think the last time I saw you was on that bridge over in Delorge when when they built the bridge for the levee board over there. And thank you for everything you've done. Like you just said, your brother's smiling down on you, and I know your brothers, and I know your other brother back there. And God bless you and the LeCompte family, and thank you for everything you've done. You made Terrebonne Parish a lot better place. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Michel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to recognize Councilman-elect C.J. Voisin Jr., who's in the audience today. He's my successor. He's going to be a councilman for District 3. And we wish you the best, Mr. Voisin, and may God be with you during the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also saw Ms. Kim Chauvin back there as well. And so welcome, Ms. Kim. We look forward to working with you. Item B, presentation of grant program funds from Energy to Terrebonne Parish for Bayou Country Sports Park Fitness Center. Ms. Paula Rome.
Thank y'all for having me this evening. I wanted to tell y'all a little story. So Energy has a grants program, as y'all know, and this grant came across my desk a few weeks ago, and Energy was our Southeast region was out of grant money. So I took this grant. I know how important the Bayou Sports Complex is to our parish. I know how important it is to President Dove, and I know how important it is to this council. So I took it a step further, and I brought it to our state grants committee, represented by our Vice President of Government Affairs, Jody Montalero, and our President, Philip May. So I thought I was going to have to go fight for this to get Terrebonne Parish the grant money they needed. It was not a fight whatsoever. Jody Montalero and Philip May both said that Terrebonne Parish and President Dove, in his years as legislature and as parish president the last 8 years, have been huge proponents of energy. Y'all have all been president of, and the council have all been very kind to energy, very much so. And I want to thank you for my last year and a half as for energy. Y'all have all been very kind to energy, and so it was a unanimous vote to take the remaining money we had in the program and give it to Terrebonne Parish. So I'm very happy tonight to be here to present you guys with a $5,000 grant check for Bayou Country Sports Complex Forest Fitness Center. So if we could take a picture.
Yeah, Paula, on behalf of the entire council, we want to thank you for that. And if you want to come up here and we'll take a picture with the entire council, because it's not every day somebody brings us a check. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's great. Three? Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
I'm not sure that check will fit in that little thing, that little drop box that you have, but thank you so much, Miss Paula Rome. Item C, TITA Executive Director Cohen Guidry to provide a 2023 year-end review. Mr. Cohen Guidry.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, President Dove, thank you for giving me a few minutes. Got a real positive reaction last year when we did when I did the year-end review. Just hit my 18-month mark with TITA, and I'm still enjoying it every day. And I appreciate all your support from each and every one of you for the projects that we do and a lot of the different things that we've been able to accomplish. This year, we've had a little over 20.4 million in capital investment by 3 private companies, which created 150 new jobs on 3 expansions. We, in partnership with Chris Pulaski, we've been able to accomplish a Terrebonne Parish Nature Recreation Conservation grant program through GNOF. We won $100,000. And there was 13 different parishes that were competing for the $100,000. There was $1 million split up in 10 grants. Terrebonne Parish won 2 of those 10 grants. So we were one. This will go to the environmental impact study for that to allow us to go to the next step with this program and the project. And there's been some other funds allocated or earmarked for it in different projects. I successfully completed Leadership Terrebonne this year, and I was pretty happy to be able to do that. It gave me a different outlook and a whole new outlook on the beautiful parish that I do live in and work in every day. So I felt that was a huge accomplishment this year. And we've got some great participations and partnerships with Fletcher, with Home and Terrebonne Aviation, with the airport, the downtown restoration districts. We've got some really cool things coming down the pipe. We've got a 55,000 square foot facility that's going to be going in Rebecca South, probably groundbreaking at the end of end of January. And that's coming into place. Swiss manufacturing expansion for a cardiovascular building of tools company we're working with state with LED to see if we can't get some funding for those, whether to be find an existing facility or a new build. They would really like to work in Terrebonne Parish and continue to be here. There's an oil field side and a Swiss manufacturing side. We've got a great green energy opportunity that some of you have been involved with. There was just recently a public hearing, and they were getting a lot of pushback from one of the departments that was saying that wasn't something they wanted to do. These will go into state waters. It'll be 7 windmills is what they were pushing to try to get across the line in Terrebonne Parish and state waters, 3 in Lafourche, 4 in Terrebonne. It's now being unanimously passed. They've upped it to 14. So we're still working closely with this group, but there's 3 different projects on that. We've had some good success with the Louisiana small business restore loans. They finally started getting those across the line. Some of you guys have actively been involved with getting some of your constituents in it. They have started funding those, and they're probably going to extend it over into next year as well. The cutoff is December 31st, but they still have money left in it. So it's a positive thing. None of us thought we would get an application across the line, but we did. Mr. Carly, you brought up a subject, and all I could do was grin because I couldn't jump up here and talk to you about it. But you brought up a water lily situation. That's something in your district, but it's hampering the entire parish. We're in discussions with a company out of Belgium called Project Cynthia. They've already started working with UL to create a solar powered drying process to capture water hyacinths or water lilies and do something with it. And they dry them, grind them, and they make biodegradable pot plants. So if you go and buy a bucket, an orange tree that's in a plastic bucket, this would replace that. And they sell these things all over the world. You dig a hole, drop the whole thing in it, cover it up, and you're done. They're also working with a cat litter manufacturer. It'll be the first ever all natural cat litter. So they went to Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and said, if you were going to harvest water hyacinths in the state of Louisiana, where would you go? And they said Terrebonne Parish. They've secured a lease in Gibson, and we're working with UL to help them get the grant across the line. So that'll kick off in early January. I'll be spending some time up there working with them, getting support from state delegations and as many support letters as we can to go through with this grant. So I think that'll be a pretty neat one. We've got some interest in some of the real estate here from a Swiss medical company wanting to come into the United States for some Alzheimer's programs. And for whatever reason, Houma, Louisiana looks like a place that they may want to look at. So everything else is still moving along. We're still looking at some of the capital outlay projects that came in last year. Those are still underway. There's still the New Isle project in Gray. But, I just wanted to take a few minutes and know we got a lot on the agenda. Thank all of you for your support. And I really look forward to working with you next year. For you guys that are moving on to your future endeavors, best of luck to you. And please keep your phones on because I will call if I need something.
Thank you, Cohen, and don't go too far. Mr. Dove?
Yeah, Cohen, first I want to tell you it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with you. You know, that y'all efforts have been effective, successful, beyond what most people can realize. I thank you for what you've done for Terrebonne Parish. In that same area, you're talking about this 55,000 square foot warehouse, this distribution center. You got Rouse's in that area, and I know it's a 19-acre facility, and we were asked to keep it confidential, so it's gonna be a great announcement after the first of the year. And I think people in Terrebonne Parish will be impressed at who's moving out there, and it's gonna be a big boost to Terrebonne, but everything else y'all have done, the TIDA has been very successful, and we worked together with administration and this council, and I thank you for y'all efforts and your board's efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cohen. We really look forward to working with you, sir. Thank you. Item 2, staff reports. Item A, a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute a CEA with Energy for a 2024 BRIC grant application relative to a $49.4 million wind hardening project. Moved by Mr. Steve Trosclair, second by Mr. Darren Guidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Motion passes. Item B, introduce an ordinance to authorize the acquisition of property located at 105 Bayou Gilliam. Sorry, y'all had to help me with that one. Houma, Louisiana 70363 to be donated by Louisiana Land Trust to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to execute any and all documents necessary to acquire said property and call a public hearing on said matter on Wednesday, January 10th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Moved by Mr. Danny Babin, second by Mr. Dirk Guidry. Mr. Carl Harding, we have a light.
Who did I speak with? I looked it. I looked it up on the map. It's this property right next to a ditch or something like that. I think I tried to look up the property. Just out of curiosity.
I'll have to check that.
Yeah. And I looked at the property that was adjacent to it, and really, it's a no-brainer. It's being donated to us, but I just want to know the location of it. I was just, that's all I was looking for. Thank you.
Tell you what, I'll get that information. I'll email it around to everybody.
Okay.
Mr. Babin.
Yeah, Bayou Guillaume is on the Shrimpers roadside in Grand Kaya. Once you cross the Combo Bridge, you turn left, and there's a big S curve, and that's exactly where it is right there. Actually, we call it a bridge, but it's culverts that came in prior to Hurricane Ida and never were able to put down. Mr. Rome has been keeping that bridge up. And again, I call it a bridge, been keeping that up. Once we get a Buquet Bridge going, then they'll be able to replace those culverts right there. But it's right there on Shrimpers Row after you pass the Combo Bridge when you cross over, heading south.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Members, vote your machines. 9 yeas, motion passes. Item 3, public wishes to address the council. We have no speaker cards. Do you want to go 6:30 public hearing? All right. We'll go through committee reports. Item 4, committee reports. Accept the minutes of the Terrebonne Parish Sales and Use Tax Advisory Board meeting dated December 13th, 2023, and consider ratification of the actions relative to 1, recommendation for the adoption of a resolution accepting the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for the 2023 year-end audit. 2, recommendation to accept the 2023 projected year-end budget. 3, recommendation to accept the 2024 proposed budget. 4, recommendation to approve and amend contract with Tax Compliance and Recovery LLC for auditing services.
Motion to ratify the recommendations.
We have a motion to ratify the recommendations by Mr. Gerald Michel, a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. Members, vote your machines. Mr. John Amity.
It's going to be for the committee
I'm so
reports.
sorry, sir. We have 9 yeas, motion passes. Item B, Community Development and Planning Committee, Mr. John Amity. I turned you off, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Community Development and Planning Committee held on December 18th, 2023, and I have no public hearings.
We have a motion by Mr. Amity and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas, motion passes. Item C, Public Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Dirk Gidry.
I make a motion that the council accept and ratify the minutes of the Budget and Finance Committee held on December 18, 2023, and I have no public hearings.
We have a motion by Mr. Dirk Gidry and a second by Mr. Danny Babin. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas, motion passes. Item 5, streetlights. As per by Mr. Dirk Gidry, second by Mr. Gerald Michel. Members, vote your machines. We still have 1 minute. We have 9 yeas, motion passes. Item 6, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. Item A, Bayou Cane Fire Protection District Board, 4 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Mr. Robert Page expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Edward Lawson expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Hayward Sims Jr. expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Motion to open, close, and appoint Mr. Page, reappoint Mr. Page, Mr. Lawson, Mr. Sims, and hold the 4th position over.
We have a motion to appoint Mr. Page, Mr. Lawson, and Mr. Sims, and hold the other over by Mr. Gerald Michel, and a second by Mr. Brian Pledger. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Congratulations to those. We have a motion to go in 6:30 public hearing by Mr. John Amity, and a second by Mr. Brian Pledger. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. We're now in 6:30 public hearing. Item A, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of Parish of Terrebonne so as to rezone from R1 single family residential to R3 multifamily residential, Lot 1, Square 2, Barrowtown, 202 East Street, Homo, Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. Doris Moore Jules is the applicant. Public once, public twice, third time public. Motion to close by Mr. Brian Pledger, a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. Members, vote your machines. Public is closed. Motion to adopt by Mr. Brian Pledger, a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Motion. We have a motion go back in regular order by Mr. Gerald Michel, a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. We are now in public back in regular order. Item B, Shreveport Fire Protection District Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Miss Lawinda Duncan expresses her interest in being reappointed. Miss Jeanette Scheck-Snyder expresses her interest in being reappointed. We have a motion to open, close, and appoint by Mr. Michel and a second by Mr. John Amity. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Congratulations. Item C. I'm sorry, Mr. Michel.
Just in case Ms. Scheck-Snyder is listening, I just want to thank her for all of her service during the past 8 years that I've been here, and let her know how much I miss her and her husband's face in that back row every 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item C, Fire Protection District Number 5 Board, 4 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024, and 1 expired term. Mr. Jody Blanchard expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Kurt L. Chartenier expresses his interest in being reappointed. Mr. Gerald F. Arsenault expresses his interest in being reappointed.
Second.
We have a motion to reappoint Mr. Blanchard, Mr. Chartenier, Mr. Arsenault, and hold the other over by Mr. Steve Trosclair, a second by Mr. Dirk Gidry. Members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Congratulations. Item D, Fire Protection District Number 6 Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Mr. Peter Lambert expresses his interest to be reappointed. We have a motion to reappoint Mr. Lambert by Mr. Steve Trosclair and a second by Mr. Gerald Michel. And members, vote your machines. We have 9 yeas. Motion passes. Item E, Airport Commission, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Mr. Taylor Weeks submits application and resume for consideration. Mr. Jody Blanchard submits application and resume for consideration. Mr. John Watson submits application, but he pulled his application. His application has been withdrawn. Ms. Christine Strickland submits application and resume for consideration. And Mr. Andrew Daigle submitted his application, but he also withdrew his application. We have a motion to open, close, and vote by Mr. Babin and a second by Mr. Michel. Members, vote your machines. I'm sorry. Can we please get a roll call vote?
Mr. Darren Gidry, Mr. Danny Babin, Mr. Dirk Gidry,
Strickland.
Mr. Trosclair, Mr. Pledger, Mr. Harding, Mr. Michel,
Dr. Strickland.
Mr. Amity,
Dr. Strickland.
Ms. Domain.
Dr. Strickland.
3 votes for Mr. Blanchard, 6 votes for Mr. Strickland.
Congratulations to Dr. Strickland, and I do not see her here tonight, but we definitely give her our best wishes. Item F has been added onto the agenda. Fire Protection District Number 8 Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024, and 1 expired term. Mr. Michael G. Anthony submits his application and resume for consideration.
Whose district is it? Open, close, and appoint Mr. Michael Anthony. And hold the other one over.
We have a motion to appoint Mr. Anthony and hold the other over by Mr. Babin, and a second by Mr. Carl Harding. Members, vote your machines. 9 yeas. Congratulations to Mr. Anthony. Item set. I'm sorry.
Just a question. You said it was an add-on. It wasn't a late add-on.
No, it wasn't. It was just, yeah. Okay. Item 7, vacancies to various boards, committees, and commissions. Recreation District Number 2-3 Board, 1 vacancy due to resignation. Recreation District Number 3A Board, 2 vacancies. Fire Protection District Number 4 Board, 3 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Fire Protection District Number 5 Board, 1 expired term on January 1st, 2024, and 1 expired term. Fire Protection District Number 6 Board, 1 expiring term on January 1st, 2024. Fire Protection District Number 7 Board, 3 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Fire Protection District Number 8 Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1st and 1 expired term. Fire Protection District Number 9 Board, 3 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Fire Protection District Number 10 Board, 3 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024. Bayou Cane Fire Protection District, 1 expired term on January 1st, 2024. Coteau Fire Protection District Board, 2 expiring terms on January 1st, 2024, and 1 expired term. Village East Fire Protection District Board, 4 expiring terms. Announcements. Mr. Parish President, do you have any announcements?
This looks like our last meeting. I really want to thank the people of Terrebonne Parish and this council. It's been a great 8 years. What we've achieved, I think, will never be matched again, and I hope it is. And the projects and the because I don't hope the amount of hurricanes and fires and COVID that we had to face is matched again. I hope that's over with. But I thank this council and then actually the council before them, a few members before them. You know, it's been a great, very productive 8 years. And prior to that, I was 12 years as chairman of Natural Resources on the House. And Terrebonne Parish is in a position where it shouldn't flood again, and of course, we've got a lot of things to be thankful of. The people of Terrebonne Parish putting up a 3/4 cent sales tax to build a levee system with Morganza with 14 floodgates. 14 floodgates, 80 miles of levees, and the good news Thursday tomorrow. The levee board will be taking bids. Will be accepting the bids for the $350 million lock system on the HNC, and that's 10 years in the making. And I want to thank Tony Alford, Reggie Dupree, and the levee board for getting that for along with CPRA. Thank you. God bless the people of Terrebonne Parish and the United States of America, and of course our veterans. Thank y'all. God bless.
And thank you for your service to Terrebonne Parish, Mr. Dove. Mr. Michel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank a few people. It's been a truly a privilege to be here these last 8 years, and I'd like to thank a few people who've always been there to answer questions for me. Mr. Dave Rome, Mr. Clay Knockan, Mr. Chris Pulaski, Ms. Kelly Vornado, and also the next 3 people, Ms. Candace Malden, Mr. Roddy Lareal, and Councilman John Amity for being there unwaveringly in the support that we've had in trying to improve education in the parish. And there are a couple of retirees, Ms. Angela Guidry, Mr. Al Leveron, that I'd like to also express my appreciation. And there's been about 24 special mentors that I've had that I could count on if I needed to get advice from them, or they would call me when I didn't necessarily know I needed the advice. But one in particular, and I won't name their names because that's the last thing they'd want, but I just want them to know that I appreciate them from the bottom of my heart. And finally, Miss Vanita Chauvin, the late Miss Suzette Thomas, and Miss Tammy Triggs, who have been the guiding factors of this council by nature of their jobs as council clerks. They've been wonderful, and I recommend to everyone who's new to listen to what they have to say and let them guide you, because they can help us all to be more effective in our jobs. Thank you all so much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Michel, and thank you for your service to Terrebonne Parish as well. Mr. John Amity.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to recognize my state representative who walked in a little late to our meeting to join me. That's my wife, Beryl Amity. I always introduce myself to everybody as her driver because it seems like that's all I do. If I want to see her, I have to drive her around. But We're 41 years married, and I wouldn't have anybody else. But I want to take the time to thank Mr. Dove for all that he's done for the parish of Terrebonne, not just the last 8 years, but the 12 years before that as well. I want to thank Mike Toops, the working relationship. If I needed something, I called him, and he got right on it. And I want to thank Mr. Michel for his kind words and the work that he's done. Mr. Dirk Gidry, who, well, for quite a while has been a good friend, not just a fellow councilman, and Mr. Darren Gidry for you put yourself out there and you let people swing at you. So it's not always an easy thing to do, but for you guys, I want to thank you for being willing to put yourself out there and help guide this parish to where it is today. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Almody. Mr. Steve Trosclair.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I want to kind of reiterate what John said about President Dove. You know, President Dove, I want you to know I really appreciated and enjoyed working with you. You've done a lot for the Terrebonne Parish, and as you stated, probably more than any other single parish president in regards to the drainage and safety and flooding in Terrebonne Parish. You know, it's hadn't been done by anyone else before, along with all the other things that we accomplished in the parish uh, during your 8 years. And like Councilman Amity said, you're 12 years in the House. You're 12 years in the House. Uh, you know, you're instrumental in getting a lot of money and funding into Terrebonne Parish, along with our current delegation that's there now, Tana McGee, Zizarang, and Miss Amity. Y'all really, and Senator Fazy, y'all have done a really good job in getting the funding that we desperately need to be able to sustain living here in Terrebonne Parish. So I feel good that we can, my kids and my grandkids, my great grandkids, we'll have a place to live for a long time here in Terrebonne Parish without having to move out. And that's thanks to all the efforts that all these guys did and to get the funding, because without outside state and federal funding, there's no way the parish could have done what we got done in the short amount of time that it got done in. So thanks again, and good luck in whatever takes you to the next chapter of your life, President Dell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trosclair. Mr. Dirk Gidry.
Yeah, I'd also like to tell everybody it's been a great 12 years. There's been a lot of people, all the department heads that's helped me out. And I can tell you in 12 years, I've never had one problem with any department head, whether it was under Michel Claudet's administration or Mr. Dove's administration. Everybody has helped me out tremendously. My love for Terrebonne Parish will keep continuing. I'll stay in the spotlight. I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean? I like to help the people I represented and everybody. One special person that I'd really, really love to thank, it was during Hurricane Ida, when things were really bad. Mr. Steve Pondville. This man helped me tremendously. If it wouldn't have been for him, I couldn't have accomplished what I did in Chauvin. So, Steve, from the bottom of my heart, me and my people love you for what you did for us. You know what I mean? And you'll be my friend forever. Mr. Dove, thanks for all the things you did for me. During my 12 years, I brought in over $100 million of projects to District 8. So, I mean, that's never been done before, to bring that much money into the Chauvin East Homer area. So I really, really love to thank y'all for everything y'all did. I'd like to thank all the engineering companies that did a fantastic job with all the major projects that they've done in Terrebonne Parish, moving Terrebonne forward. I've been through a lot of councilmen sitting up here in 12 years. I'd like to thank everybody for what they've done. Ms. Melton, you've done a bang-up job, girl. You too, man. You did a good job, man. But Chris, Jules, thank y'all for everything y'all done for Terrebonne Parish, and I hope that we can stay in touch. So thank y'all, and y'all have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Gidry. Mr. Darren Gidry.
Yeah, and I too want to thank all the staff. I want to thank Mr. Dove. I want to thank my fellow council members, not only this council, but the last council that I served with in the first 4 years. You know, we've experienced, it seems like, unsurmountable things over the last 6 years, from dealing with a pandemic to dealing with perhaps one of the worst hurricanes to hit Terrebonne Parish. Couple that with insurance rates that have never been higher, and even now we're fighting wildfires. Um, if you would have told me this would have been in the cards when I ran 8 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. This is terrible. Soma. You know, we don't deal with that, but we did, and the staff has, you guys have stepped up, as well as Mr. Dove, Mr. Toops. I mean, I can't say enough about everybody. I know Mr. Rome's not here, Mr. Clay Knockan with our sanitation, who's done an excellent job. Mr. Ernie Brown's done a good job with our utilities. Mr. Dane Ardo's done good in keeping us from getting sued. um, and, I also want to thank the voters of District 6 for allowing me to serve them for the last 8 years. It's been a very busy 8 years, um, but it's been a very rewarding 8 years. I enjoy helping people, and my time as councilman has allowed me to do that. Now it's time for Councilman Clyde Hamner, who's taking it over in January, and I wish him luck, and I will help him out as much as I can. And I want to thank everybody for allowing me to serve, and may you have a very happy and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Harding.
Well, first of all, this is not goodbye. And it seems as if it's a rather somber story. But each time we have former council people come in, you will always be recognized as a representative of Terrebonne Parish. I heard something the other night that, Mr. Dirk Guidry, have you ever missed a council meeting?
590 meetings. I've never been late or missed one meeting in 12 years.
I think you should get applause for that. When you mentioned, Mr. Amadine, that your wife stood up as beautiful as she is, I said, well, I hope you're not John Dillinger, because you got a nice pinstripe suit on, and she has that beautiful red dress on. But then my representative for the new coming year is Miss Jessica Domingue. So it's not goodbye. I know I've learned to have all types of friendships and relationships. Everyone on this council knows I'll probably get up before everybody. I think Gaudy and Darren, they get up in the second wave, and I had to pick up Steve and John Almody. And Danny and I, we've had several conversations. We always have to get back with each other. And of course, Gerald, we've actually always been praying with him. That he had a difficult, turn. But I'm glad to say that I appreciate that God has spared him to be here and not to say goodbye, but then see you later. And of course, Mr. Pleasure, even though we talk often and we know our mothers are relatives, at the end of this day, all the people in Terrebonne Parish, I would like to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. Mr. Pleasure.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I find it fitting that I share a few words with Mr. Dove that I'm new to this, being the newest guy up here in the last 8 months being elected. But I can say moving forward, I'm going to take something from what I've learned from all of these guys up here and Jessica as well, and be able to move forward into the new administration. But specifically for Mr. Dove, I can say, and all of you can probably say the same thing, that he did secure Terrebonne Parish. He was a project guy, and he was able to secure us from flooding and all the other disasters that possibly are going to come forward here in the future, if any. But now the new administration, we should look forward to, since we're secure, let's beautify Terrebonne Parish and move it forward. And again, I'm going to echo the sentiments of Mr. Guidry and Steve Ponville. You're some kind of guy. And those who know Steve Ponville, they know that he's some kind of guy. I'll just tell you, share a quick thing with you. We had the fires going on, and I didn't want to get the smoke all in my truck and all this other stuff. So I called Steve. Steve, I've never seen a kid in the candy store raring to take somebody and view a fire. And he did that for me. And Steve, I mean, you're great. You're a great guy. You got a great spirit, and thanks for all that you do, all that you have done, and all that you're going to do in the future. But most of all, let's move Terrebonne Parish forward. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Pledger. Mr. Babin.
Yeah, I echo the sentiments of everybody up here. I've had the opportunity to serve under two parish presidents and now going to a third parish president. Each one took a different approach. Each one did great for Terrebonne Parish. And I'm sure that President-elect Jason Bergeron is going to do the same thing, because each one of them that I served with and each one of the people that I served with up here all had Terrebonne Parish at heart. You don't throw your name out to run for this particular office or parish president unless you love this parish and you care about the people of this parish. And again, the department heads have been terrific prior to and now, and I look forward to serving in the future, helping Terrebonne Parish to continue to grow. And again, I thank each and every one of y'all for y'all participation with me and putting up with me. And again, like everybody else said, have a Merry Christmas and a very prosperous New Year. And again, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. Mr. Amity.
I was sitting here and thanking those people that I've served with that are going to be moving on to other things. And I was like, I'm missing somebody. And then it dawned on me. She happens to be sitting right to the side of me here. And I don't know how you can miss a person like that, but Miss Jessica Domingue, it's been an honor. We've gotten to be good friends over the last 4 years. But I can't get rid of her because now she's serving with my wife and she's going to be involved still in conversation. So, but at least now I have a running partner to go to all the spouses events. And Chris, I've already warned the legislative spouses that I'll be coming back with my buddy, and we're gonna show them what guys do, because it's guys. If you look at the picture, it's me, one guy, and all those ladies. I have a couple other friends in there from the north, but they don't always come down. But I sat next to this lady over this past year, and I just want to say good luck on your venture. You've got a lot of friends that are pulling for you to support you in what you do. And to the rest of the parish, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amity. Mr. Guidry.
Yeah, and one other person I didn't thank is my wife, because when you serve in public office, the phone rings all hours of the day, and so it takes we're on a cruise, and I'm getting phone calls for constituents, and she's put up with that over the last 8 years, and so I want to I don't want to end the meeting without thanking my wife for putting up with me being a councilman for the last 8 years. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Mr. Guidry. Mr. Misha.
I want to thank his wife too. Okay. Thank you very much.
And Pam, I would like to thank you too. But it has been an absolutely incredible journey, and I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your support. If you would have asked me 5 years ago if I would be a state representative, I would have told you to get out of town, because I had no idea. But life is like that, and life is so amazing because you don't know where God's going to put you, and you don't know what journey God's going to have in front of you. And so I do want to appreciate everyone and thank everyone. I want to tell a quick story. It was about 4 years ago, and President Dove, I was a brand new council person. I had no idea what was about to happen or where the world was going to come. And so President Dove invited me over for a meeting. And you guys know Mr. Dove likes to do meetings at his house. And so he invites me over for a meeting at his house. And Mr. Dove is sitting there and eating an ice cream cone. And my eyes were about this big. And I'm like, where am I? Like I'm not in Kansas anymore. And we talked about projects and we talked about different things. But I want you to know, Mr. Dove, you have been such an incredible mentor for me. And I look forward to working with you in the future. I know that our paths are going to cross one way or another. But I did learn one thing from you, and it's all about projects, right? And projects, projects, projects. And so I will continue that moving forward and moving in the future, especially on the state level. I think that's very, very important. But just to kind of reflect back on what Mr. Guidry said, we've been through so much, this council, and I would imagine that if you look back on previous councils, we probably have them beat on some of the tragedies and some of the struggles we've had, from getting here and 3 months later being hit by COVID, by a pandemic. No one tells you what to do. And once again, your leadership, Mr. Dove, during that pandemic, I love what you said. When you said we're going to have a common sense mask mandate. I talked about that the other day on HTV. I think that was so intelligent of you and so, uh, uh, just looking to the future and looking at where, and if you kind of look back, that really was where we needed to be, was common sense. And then getting out of that and being hit by the hurricane, and we all did our parts, and it's so difficult for so many, but we had an incredible team, and we really are a team. We may not always, agree on everything, but we've got a fantastic team right here. I just want to thank a few people. First of all, Mr. Ponville, look, they've all said it. It can be the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we call you, and you're there, Johnny on the spot every single time. You're one of the most loyal people I've ever met, and I know for sure that we're going to continue to work together. Miss Candace, you are a rock star. I know you were put through the ringer, and I remember some of those days, especially during Hurricane Ida, and just looked like you hadn't slept in God knows when, but you kept this parish going. You kept the money flowing. You kept us exactly where we needed to be, and so I appreciate you, and I look forward to a long working relationship with you as well. Mr. Mike Toops, you're rock star as well. You keep everything together, you keep everything going, and I look forward to seeing wherever your career ends up taking you, sir. Chris, look, number one guy, you are so amazing. You've got so many amazing ideas. And I really look forward to seeing what you're going to do with this next administration. And I know you and I have a meeting coming up, but I really want to work on some quality of life projects with you. I know we've talked about a lot of things, but let's go ahead and do those things now that I'm in this position that we can do this. Jules, nobody thanked you. Um, but, but Jules, look, we love you. You're a thorn in our side sometimes, but we all understand and appreciate why you say and do the things that you need to do. And you definitely are probably one of the most thorough people I've ever met in my entire life. But I do appreciate that work ethic, and once again, I want to see where you end up landing as well, because I'm sure it's going to be somewhere great. They're not here tonight, but I want to thank David Rome and I want to thank Clay Knockhand, two more rock stars in this government. We've got so many wonderful people that work for Terrebonne Parish Consolidated Government. Some of them are so unappreciated, and it's such a thankless job, but we really have the best people. And my husband, Chris, is here tonight. I want to thank my family, Chris and the girls. You guys sacrifice so much so that we can work for this government and so we can be a piece of this puzzle. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. And to the new council, I see Miss Kim is here, and I see Mr. Voisin is here. I just want to give you a few words of advice, okay? So first of all, if you ever mention the words recreation in a council meeting, expect to be here at least 2 hours. But guys, you're not going to agree on everything. You're going to agree on a lot. You're going to have a lot of great things that you're going to do. Um, you know, once the vote is over, it's over. It's time to move on to the next thing. And just know that you guys are a team, and I look forward to working with both of you, all 9 of you actually, because we're going to do some absolutely great things. And so, once again, I just want to thank the people of Terrebonne Parish, and I want to thank you for this next opportunity. I'm not going too far. I'm still going to be on Central Avenue. But I truly look forward to seeing what we can achieve in the next 4 years. Mr. Trostclair.
Okay, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but are we gonna go into council, or did we already bridge over into the council announcements?
This is the council announcement.
Well, we never got out of the president's announcements. We just rolled over. So I did, but so I'm gonna take this time to do my well wishes and stuff, and I want to wish all the councilmen that are leaving the best in their future. We've had some really good times here in the last 8 years, and also the last 4 years with this council. We've had some rocky times, like it was already stated. The hurricanes, the COVIDs, and we actually had more than Ida in the 8 years I've been on the council. We had several hurricanes that we dealt with. Ida was a big one, but they all present a problem to the council and the people of the parish. And, our administration, y'all did a bang up job. All of y'all, Candace, Chris, Mike, Steve, you like you said, everybody said that you were Johnny on the spot, and Steve is probably one of the most loyal employees you'll ever have. But even more than loyal, he's humble. Steve is the most humble person you'll ever meet. If you don't know Steve, you need to meet him. Steve's a great guy. The new council members coming in, Kim and Clayton, y'all here tonight. But to all of y'all guys, looking forward to working with you guys. I think we're gonna have a really good team, and we should have a good council, and we should be able to do some good things moving forward in the parish. The incoming administration, for the most part, our administration is going to stay as is. We got the new parish president. Looking forward to working with him. He's got some. We met last week. He's got a lot of good ideas. I think if we can get half his ideas in, we'll definitely make a show in the Terrebonne Parish. So, like I said, I just want to give y'all all my gratitude, my appreciation for all the cooperation. Jules Hebert. Let me tell you something. I watched Jules in court in action. I want Jules on my side. I don't care what I'm in court for, but I want Jules on my team. I do not want him on the opposite side. Jules is a bull in the courtroom. As Jessica mentioned earlier, he's a stickler for detail. Sometimes I tell Jules, look, I got a $5 question. I need a $2 answer. I don't need a $50 answer. But Jules does his research. He gives you, all the details. If you ask Jules a question, you can be assured that you got as much research as he could possibly find to give you an answer. So thanks a lot, Jules. I appreciate everything that you did for me and for this whole council and for the parish. So thanks a lot, and I rambled on long enough. Looking forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Mr. Duff.
Yeah, just a couple of things right quick. When you come into my house and I was eating an ice cream, I want the record known I did offer her one. And and I'm glad you brought up Jules. And Jules, I want to tell you, you and Candace, we just settled out $60 million in insurance, and I know y'all worked your tails off along with all y'all staff. And, we decided to keep it in-house, and we saved the parish $15 million. So hats off to Jules, Candace, all y'all administration, everyone involved, everyone, all your teamwork. I mean, we chose not to get it. Attorneys get about 25% of what they collect. So, y'all saved this parish $15 million, and I wanted to bring that out before we leave. And Steve Podville, I'm sorry, I didn't get you when I first was talking the first time, but Steve, I can't say enough. I mean, you were there for everyone. You took care of public safety. You worked with the sheriff, the police department, the fire departments. And I mean, Steve was out there, and a few times he had to go take breathing treatments, because of the smoke and all, especially on Savannah Road. That peat fire was a lot tougher than people thinking. Because I want to thank all of the fire departments and Dave Rome and all this. Joey Seahan was Johnny on the spot on that, along with all the public works, and we were able to put out the fire. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with all of y'all. And God bless y'all and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Duff. Mr. Darren Guidry.
Yeah, and one last thing. Of course, thank you, Steve, too. And thank you, Jules. But I do want everybody to know that these two, Candace and Chris, are kind of like the traffic circle in our road system. It seems like every time something goes on, it's like we need somebody to figure out which ice cream we're going to have in the ice cream machine. Let's assign Chris. And then Chris has to talk to Candace to make sure we got money for the ice cream. So you guys, I mean, if it's FEMA trailers that need to be assigned, Chris gets in charge of that, and Candace has to find the money. And so whatever it is, I mean, putting lights in a skate park. Chris gets assigned putting lights in the skate park. So there's so much that the Rotary Club, giving the Rotary Club a project that they can do, the Centennial Project. They call Chris, and and so thank you guys for being that traffic circle. And if I didn't mention anybody's name, it's not because we didn't appreciate you guys. We're just trying to think of everybody's names. Thanks.
Mr. Harding.
One more time. It's not like I don't know Jules, and it's not like I don't know Steve. But those guys are my friends, and I didn't have to say it, but then that's for those people that don't know that Steve and I are like this, and Jules and I, Jules is a Jew. Believe it or not, everything they say about him ain't true. So look, y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Wait, I've got one more person that has not been recognized, and she's sitting in the back. It's Miss Debbie Ortego. And I know she is not one for praise, but Miss Debbie. You are the silent person that keeps this parish going, Miss Debbie, and we appreciate you. And once again, I look forward to seeing where your path goes as well. I'm sure it's going to go somewhere amazing. I have one more light. Mr. Pledger.
I promise I'll be real brief in this, but I think we mentioned it a couple of times, but I would like to give a special thank you to the council staff, Miss Tammy in her absence, Miss Alicia, but also Keith and Miss Charlie back here, because I call them probably more than anybody else, but I can say that our council staff makes us really look like we know what we're doing. So thank you, guys. Thank you.
Motion adjourned.
We have a motion to adjourn by Mr. John Amity and a second, unanimous second. Members, vote your machines. Good night.